Let's see here. All right, morning time, 10 o'clock. Woke up early, went for my walk. Now, welcome back to the Prison Yard TV, where we talk prison politics. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification button. Today, I'm going to go back to 2005, where my whole life it changed from that moment on. And I'm trying to bring some content that the viewers keep asking for. It's probably going to be my last prison riot or jail riot content for a week or two. I got 16 to talk about, but this one right here changed the whole Thurston County, Washington bank robberies changed my life in many ways. So I'm gonna take you back to 2005, May of 2005. So I had to leave Sacramento because I was a wanted man for parole violation. What I did was my parole officer gave me the heads up that they was coming to look for me. He was a brother out of Oakland. He used to work at Folsom Prison. Not going to say his name, but he put a card on my new house door, which he wasn't supposed to know where I lived. And he told me, "I'll see you when I see you," and that meant get up out of here. They're looking for you. I was wanted for a parole violation, and it could have been new charges. So I decided to stay in the streets for a couple weeks in Sac, stay low, collect the money that was owed to me on the streets, and I actually left to Washington. I had a friend down there, D-Bear, and he told me to come down there because he knew I was on the run and to bring as much product as I could possibly bring. So what I didn't know about the state of Washington, where he lived, it was Olympia, Washington, and that's the capital of Washington. It's about 45 minutes away from Seattle, 30 minutes away from Tacoma, Washington, and it's a little ass prejudiced white town. So what I did was I got these two individuals, one that I was working with on the street. He was a youngster, 19 years old, and a female that I had met 4 months prior to this, and her name is Vanessa Molina. Not going to mention the guy's name. I'm still in contact with him. He's out here on the street. But what I did was I got 16 pounds of methamphetamines and 2 kilos of cocaine. And I go downtown Sacramento and I get on the Amtrak by myself. And I send the girl and the guy in my car to drive to Washington. When I get to Washington, they beat me there. They pick me up at the train station. And what happens is my homie, D-Bear from 24th Street, he works for a brick company. When I get there, I'm anxious to start making money. And come to find out, he really didn't have the people to buy what we needed him to buy, what I need to sell. So what happens is after I'm there a week, we went down there with 16 fake IDs with my picture, with Vanessa's picture. And we went down there because I was on the run with these fake IDs. And we planned on staying out there for at least 2 years. It didn't work out that way. So what happens is I have to go meet people that I don't know to try to get rid of this shit because he ain't helping me. He's working at a brick company every day. He don't have no clientele. I don't know why I took all this shit down there. So I go to casinos I'm a gambler, and me and Vanessa go to a casino, and while I'm gambling, she met this little white cat that smoked weed, and they went to my car, smoked some weed, and started talking and shit, and I lost $4,000. So I was upset. So I go outside on the balcony of this casino and I look in the parking lot and I see them in my car and I see smoke going out of my sunroof. So I go down there. I'm mad I lost $4,000. This little white kid was sitting in my driver's seat smoking a blunt with the chick that I went down there with. So I snatched him out. He took off, and I kind of got mad at her for having this dude in my car. And what happens is I didn't know it right then, but the next day, the same little white dude called my cell phone, and he is like, "Hey, Junior, can we hook up? I need to get a 12 pack," and I don't know what he's talking about. I asked Vanessa. She's like, "I gave him 2 zips of crystal, and he gave me this," and she showed me this big ass bag of weed. This is where the disaster begins. So in the meantime, somebody from Sacramento called me and told me that my car was wanted by Sacramento Police Department. They showed my license plates on the news that I was a wanted individual for a parole violation and assault. So I knew I couldn't drive my Mercedes no more. So I had a homie in Sac, and he been wanting to buy my Mercedes from me. So I called him up, and he had just got his income taxes. And I told him, bring me $15,000 and come get the car. So he agreed to it. He flew out there. He had $6,500 on him. So I'm talking to this white kid on the phone a few times, and I'm filling him out. So when my homie gets down there, I tell him, I'm like, look, man, I can't give you the car for no $6,500. I paid $23,000 for it 6 months before I got to Washington. I need at least 15 for it. So we decided, it's the biggest mistake of my life. We decided that we were going to rob this white boy that wanted 12 zips of cocaine. He was going to give me, and this is 2005, you got to understand, we agreed upon some pounds of weed and some money. So what we did was I went with Vanessa and we went and met this guy and we gave him a tester. He bought a zip from me and he gave me $1,200 for a zip of cocaine in a parking lot of the Silver Dollar Casino in Tacoma, Washington, Pierce County. Well, what I didn't know was this individual was an informant for the task force down there for Pierce County. We met him at the same casino that I lost the money at. So I sold him the ounce. He wanted 12. He called me back later on that day and he said he wanted 2 bricks. He said he would give me 15 pounds of weed and $32,000 for 2 bricks. So I told my homie that came down there to get my Mercedes, I told him, look, man, we're going to rob this dude. He agreed to it. Now, my friend that was down there, D-Bear, he worked for a brick company, and his boss was a white cat that really liked me. He took a liking to me as soon as I got there. He knew I was from California. And I got to tell you something. When you go to Washington State and you're a certified Californian, they navigate towards you immediately. They want to know about the gang culture. They want to know about the rap. They're late in everything down there. They still gangbang and wear khaki suits in Tacoma. Hilltop Crip, what's up? All the Hilltop Crips down there, they gangbang down there in 2005. They was gangbanging like we was gangbanging in the 80s. So they're way behind in time. Their clothes, everything is way behind. So they navigate toward people from California. And there's a few people down there from California. So what happens is this dude was a fucking informant. So when we went to go meet with him, I had 2 real kilos of cocaine in a truck and then 2 fake kilos in a car. And then I was with the white cat that was my friend's boss. So ultimately, we get arrested. I'm not going to get into details right now. It's in my book. We get arrested, me and my homie from Sacramento, my girl, the one that I went down there with, and the white cat that drove me that never been arrested before. And soon as we got handcuffed, I knew what was going to happen. He said, man, can I talk to you away from him? And he ultimately told where we lived at. We're in Pierce County when this happens, and we lived in Thurston County. So it's 2 counties over where he took them back to our duplex. Well, when he took them back to the duplex, the police put us in a van, all 3 of us in a van, and they took us to a park. This is 6 o'clock in the evening time. They took us to this park till 11 o'clock at night. They brought us some kind of food, I think Burger King or Carl's Jr.'s, and they fed us at this park. And I'm wondering, why ain't they taking us to this jail? Because they was raiding our duplex while we were sitting in this van. So they take me, my homie, Black Lab, and Vanessa to the Pierce County Jail. We went to court the next day, and they said NCF for Vanessa and NCF for Black Lab. That's no charges filed. I'm the one. Wait, let me back up. So when they arrested us, I got to tell you this because this story ain't complete without this. When they arrested us, my homie Black Lab grabbed the bag with the 2 real kilos in it, and he ran across I-5 in Tacoma, Washington, and he got away for like 45 minutes, and he stashed it. So they didn't get no real dope on us. All they got is the ounce that I sold this white boy for $1,200. Let's get that clear. They didn't catch us with no 2 birds. They caught us with some sugar, 2 keys of sugar with the fake birds. So what happens is we go to court the next day, and they release Vanessa and they release Black Lab. Black Lab's from my neighborhood. So I'm in the county jail with a $250,000 bail. And I didn't know it at the time, but they had raided my house and they found everything. They found all the dope, all the money. What they didn't do was they didn't charge us, was just they robbed us. Pierce County detectives task force robbed me for all the dope, all the money, and didn't charge us. They left us a receipt. They ripped up my couches. They broke the TVs. They pulled the vents down in the exhaust above the stove. They tore the house up, and we had all brand new furniture. So my play brother bailed me out. I went to jail under my brother's name. My homie Black Lab went to jail under his brother's name. So that's why they released them, because they thought they were someone else. I was only in there for 2 days, and my play brother bailed me out under my brother's name. So at this time, when I get out of jail, I know that I can't go back to court. So I'm already on the run in California. So what happens is I go back to the house, and it's tore up, no money, no dope. I'm broke as hell. And this is July. This is July, the end of July, 2005. We already been out there 3 or 4 months when this happens. I barely sold any dope. I'm spending money, gambling. I'm starving right now. So when I come home, the house is tore up, the furniture's tore up, and I have no money and no damn drugs to sell. So I'm calling my mom. She's Western Union me a few dollars here and a few dollars there. So I ultimately decided to rob a bank. I'm casing out this bank for 2 days, and it's early in the morning. It's a Friday, and I wake up and I get Vanessa up and I tell her, let's roll. We borrow someone's car. He was a crackhead. He was an Indian cat, a native cat. And I gave him some crack, and we borrowed his white Regal. And we go to this bank on off of Division Street in Olympia, Washington. And I hand her my gun, and I tell her we're going to rob this bank. She immediately says, okay, didn't question it. This is the first she's heard of it. I park at a Jiffy Lube down the street. I let her out and I tell her what to do. I write a note. Vanessa walks in this bank, and the bank is about 200 yards from where I park at Jiffy Lube. And I park not facing the bank, but facing away from the bank at Jiffy Lube in the parking lot, and I can see the bank out my rearview mirror. She didn't have a bag for the money. She didn't have nothing but a white hoodie on and my pistol in the pocket right here. So I'm thinking she's not going to end up doing this. It's going to be a hoax. She's going to come back and she's going to be like, something happened. So I'm sitting in the car is running, the door's cracked, and I'm sitting in the car for like 5 or 6 minutes, and I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and she comes running out the bank with a black bag, and she's running high step into the car, and I'm shaking now. This is the first time I ever did this. So when she gets to the car, she jumps in, and I tell her, take her damn sweatshirt off. And by this time, when I pull out a Jiffy Lube, I hear sirens coming. And I'm on a back street. I'm not on Division. I'm on a back street and back of the bank. So when we pull off, I see a cop with his lights coming towards us. So I push her head down and I dump the money onto the floorboard. So the cop passes up. I'm looking straight ahead. I look at him. He passes up. I see 2 more cops. And we live literally 2 miles away from this bank. So we get to the house. And you got to understand where we live. We lived off of Division in Olympia, Washington. And we lived in a wooded area in a duplex. There was 31 duplexes in this area. And my homie D-Bear lived in a duplex there. And his landlord gave me and Vanessa a duplex, which was like 30 yards away from my homie. So when we get to the house, I make her go take a shower. I take all her clothes and I walk up to D-Bear's spot. He got a fire pit and I burn his clothes and I put all this money. It was $11,500. Counted it out, made sure there wasn't no traces on it, put it in his barbecue and shut the barbecue, and I went back home. So now we got $11,500. They took the money from my house that Black Lab gave me for my Mercedes, the 6500. He ended up taking my Mercedes back to California. We worked out a deal. So I was up there with no car, no anything. $11,500 in my pocket. So this was in late July. So I bought a K5 Blazer in September 10th or September 11th. I decided we was going to rob another bank. This is all documented. You could Google it. The Witch Bank Robber of Olympia, Washington, Vanessa D. Molina and Donnie Jefferson. As you can see on the thumbnail, that's her doing time in Purdy in Washington. She got 13 years for this. I'll get into that later on. So on September 10th or September 11th, we decide to go to Bank of America in Olympia, Washington, and rob another bank. I park across the street at Westfield Mall. She walks across the street in Bank of America. She comes high stepping out of that bank with a note, with no gun this time. And I was angry because we only got $2,500. That's in September. So all the way from September till October 31st, we didn't rob no more banks. October 31st is coming up, and it's going to be Halloween. You got to understand, in Olympia, Washington, in 2005, the bank stayed open till 6 or 6:30, and it got dark. So it's fall time. It's October on Halloween, and I go to this mall, and I buy her at the costume store a witch's outfit, a full-fledged witch's outfit, blonde wig, pointy hat, black cape, purple hat, and I want to change up her look because we already robbed 2 banks, and it's out in the newspaper now. They call her a light-skinned black girl, but she's Mexican, as you can see on the thumbnail. Vanessa's Mexican, and she's from Lodi. So on Halloween, I decided to go to the next town over, Lacey, Washington, and I've been scoping this Washington Mutual out. So we go to this Washington Mutual, and again, it's drizzling rain outside. The ground's wet. I park across the street. She walks across the street with this witch's costume in a trick-or-treat bag. And she takes a note into this bank. And I told her, this time, you got to hit more than one teller. You got to go to 2 tellers. Well, I think this was a mistake. So when she comes out the bank, she's in there a long time because there's a line in there. When she comes out the bank, what's up, bro? Tacoma, Washington, Al Carroll. Look this up, Al. 2005, the Witch Bank robbery of Olympia, Washington. You can verify this. So she goes into this Washington Mutual in Lacey. She's in there a long ass time. At this time, I have a K5 Blazer, an old school K5 Blazer I bought from a dentist, and it was clean as hell, but it was 3 on the floor, and it was all black. And I was parked across the street in this Blazer. I was letting the car run. She comes across the street, and it's raining outside. She's in a full witch's costume with a Halloween bag, and when she comes across the street, dye packs explode on her. Now, at this time, I didn't know nothing about dye packs. She comes to the car, and I'm parked in a parking lot. She comes to the car with this bag, and as she gets closer, the windows are down and the door's partly open. My eyes start to water, and I can't breathe because they put pepper spray in their dye packs. I tell her, throw that shit out. I got asthma. She's like, no, there's a lot of money in here. And I'm like, throw that shit out. We can't drive with that shit smoking like that down the street. So she reluctantly threw the bag of money up under a black BMW that was parked next to me. I was down to my last $2,000. I knew we had to hit a bank, and I knew we only had 45 minutes. So she threw the dye pack. We seen the police coming, and we go downtown Olympia, Washington. We got downtown in 15 minutes. I sent her into another Washington Mutual. She took off her witch's costume. I gave her my blue sweatshirt. She put it on. I parked around the corner from this bank. She went and robbed it, and we got, I think, $19,300. No dye packs, no nothing. So now I'm spooked. This is October 31st. At the time, one of my children's birthday was coming up, and I had the money, so I decided in November that I was going to drive back to Sacramento, California for my son's birthday. When I drove back to Sacramento, I had complications with the K5. It broke down. I had to end up buying a fucking Ford Bronco from a tow company for $1,500 to get to Sacramento. The exhaust was shot out. It was loud. I get to Sacramento. I'm here for 3 days. While I'm in Sacramento, Vanessa decides to walk into a Washington Mutual bank to open up a bank account. Not a bank that we robbed. A whole nother town over. Squalamy? No. What's the town next to Olympia? I'll think of it in a minute. She walked into a Washington Mutual to open up a bank account. But the first teller that she robbed at the Washington Mutual in Lacey had got transferred to this bank. She walked in this bank, and Vanessa has a tattoo on her ring finger that says WB. W-E, West. She got a tattoo on her ring finger with 2 initials on it. This lady that she robbed that was transferred to this bank recognized this tattoo and let her open up this bank account. I come back from Sacramento, get to Washington. I have no idea what she did. I don't have no idea. So we're in this wooded area, and we're out every night barbecuing, drinking beer at my friend D-Bear's house, and something wasn't feeling right. This is a rural area with only 31 complexes, cut out in a green belt. So there's woods all around us. You can open my sliding glass door, and I could shoot raccoons from my couch off my sliding glass door. That's how wooded it was. 16 feet away from my back door was the woods. And we all these eyes from raccoons at night, and I shoot at them, and no police came. We was in a rural ass area. We was in the woods. So what happens is, right after this, the last bank robbery, we're up barbecuing. It's like 10 o'clock at night, and it's cold. We got these tarps, the shields, and we're barbecuing, and it's a little bit raining outside. This is November, and this van passes by my friend's house, and you can't see in it. It got dark windows, and then a blazer passes by, and this is 10 o'clock at night, and there's only 31 complex. I just get an eerie feeling. So what happens is I decide that me and her are going to leave the duplex, lock it up, and we're going to leave for a couple weeks, and we're going to go travel. So we go way down, we go way up north, and we find another casino, not the Silver Dollar. We went to Red Wing Casino, and we got a room there. Thanksgiving is coming up. So we go to Thanksgiving dinner and shit. We're up there for like maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks, and we decide to go back home. When we go back home, I see my porch light is broken out. I get an eerie feeling. We get home about 1 a.m. She's up cooking. I go lay in bed. Now my bedroom is faced to our driveway, and it's a long driveway, probably 150 yards. And at the end of this driveway, all the mailboxes to this complex, 31 mailboxes is there, and I can see these mailboxes. So when I fall asleep, I wake up to air brakes, loud ass air brakes. And I look out the window, and it's a Wonder Bread truck, and I see all these police walking towards me with a shield, walking towards the house with a shield. I jump up, I put a jacket on, I'm in my sweatpants, and I go out the back window. I go out the sliding window, and I go up in these woods. And understand, my front door is low. These woods is up high. So I go up in the woods, and I'm watching my front door. But I tell her, if they come to the door, you don't know me. They're going to come looking for me. I don't know that they're coming for these bank robberies. So ultimately, we get arrested. She gets arrested in the house. The cops surround the house. They see me in the woods. They're behind me, and I'm trying to duck, but I step on some leaves, and we get arrested. We got arrested, I believe, November 2005. November 2005, we get arrested. They take us to this little ass jail. Detective Sam Costello took us to this little ass jail. They handcuffed me in a cell, and I'm in the cell for 3 hours. I didn't know at the time Vanessa was being questioned. She was being interviewed by these cops. So they broke her down after 3 hours, and she admitted to everything. She admitted to the 4 bank robberies. She admitted we did identity theft, and she admitted to the sales of the drugs over in Pierce County. I don't know none of this until they bring me in the interview room. What happens is they don't have anything on me if she don't say nothing. She was 22 years old at the time when we got arrested. I was 36. This is 2005. She kind of implicated me on one of the bank robberies that I might have took her. She don't remember. She said that he could have took me. I was high. I was drunk. And that ultimately gave the cops the ammunition they needed to arrest me on the bank robberies and the sales of cocaine up there in Pierce County. So we go to jail, this little ass jail. It's an Olympia, Washington, Thurston County jail. I don't know this jail. I don't know nobody in this jail, and I'm from California. So I get in this jail, and they put me in the high-powered H tank. And it's like the hole. It's 3 tiers high. It's 6 cells across each tier. So it's 18 cells, 2 men in each cell. There's 36 people in this tank. We was on the news, big old articles in the newspaper. The which bank robber caught, 4 Olympia bank robberies. Well, 2 in Lacey and 2 in Olympia. And when we get there, we're like celebrities. I don't know that Vanessa's 1 tank away from me for like a month. And I don't know that she implicated me on one of the bank robberies. But I figured it out because I was being charged with the bank robberies, and they didn't have no pictures. They didn't have no evidence. They didn't have nobody to see me at these bank robberies. So it kind of made sense that she slipped up. She cleaned this up, though. She ultimately got me off of the bank robberies. So Vanessa's not a rat. She told, but she cleaned it up. She didn't know no better. She wasn't laced like that. I didn't sit her down and talk to her about if we get arrested, which I should have. So what happens is we're in the county jail from November 2005, and she is there until May 2006. And the Super Bowl's coming up when we're at the county jail. I get moved from the high power tank after 2 months. I get moved to the medium tank. And in the medium tank, everybody is out all day, and the Super Bowl's coming up. And you guys know I'm in Washington. Everybody in Washington is Seattle Sea Chickens fans. I call them Sea Chickens. We're talking about the Seahawks. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, as you guys know, but I didn't like the Seahawks. So the Super Bowl comes up. It was February 5th, I believe, 2006. And they're playing in Michigan at Ford Stadium. So I take all the bets. There's another California dude in there. There's one black dude in this tank, all whites and all natives in this tank. Me and this other guy are the only people in there that aren't white or native. So we take all the bets. There's only 36 people in this tank. We take all the bets. I bet on the Pittsburg Steelers. Ultimately, the Pittsburgh Steelers win the game. So I got all these people's canteen coming in, and I'm talking shit. I'm talking big shit. Well, this white dude, Kev, didn't like that, and he didn't want to pay me. So I went to his cell to collect, and he was like, man, Pittsburgh cheated. Bettis didn't make that touchdown, the last touchdown. They cheated us. I don't think I should pay you. I sat on that for a minute. He came out of cell, and he started playing poker. So I told the other guy from California, he's a black guy, tall dude. What's up, Roger? Man, I'm finna go take off on this dude. What I didn't know about Washington is when you're from California and you take off on someone from Washington, they all jump in. So what happened was he was sitting there playing poker, and I was only the second individual to have. When you go to Thurston County Jail, they give you shower shoes, and you can't wear your own shoes. But I got a shoe chrono saying I had plantar fasciitis, so I had these black and gray fat arms on my feet, my shoes I got arrested with. He was sitting there playing poker, and I side kicked him in the side of the head. Bam! And I threw all the poker chips on the ground. That ended up being a riot between two individuals and about 16 to 17 individuals. And we're in there chunking them. We're in there fighting. My arm gets sprained. While I'm fighting, I got this white kid on the ground, and I'm hitting him. The only black police, C.O. Muldrew, came in first to the little riot, and he got behind me and grabbed my shoulder, and I ultimately turned around and elbowed him in his side of his face. Big mistake. They handcuffed me, they beat me up, and they took me to the hole. The hole wasn't high powered. I didn't know they had another tank. So they take me to this hole, and it's only 5 cells in this hole. Now, the remainder of my time in Thurston County, I was there over a year, I think a year and 4 months fighting my case. I was in this hole. 5 cells, very secluded, and they put me in the cell by myself. The cells are 10 feet tall, and it got a light at the top of the cell, and they keep it on 24 hours a day. They don't turn it off. They give you a mattress, no sheets, no nothing, just your boxers, no Bible, no writing materials, no anything in the cell. Now, May of 2006, we're scheduled for trial. We got arrested in November of 2005. So 6 months later, we're starting trial. Now, they're offering my co-defendant a 5-year sentence to testify on me that I had her do. They didn't want her. They wanted me. So they're offering her a 5-year deal to say I took her to these banks and I was labeled the man behind the woman, that I had her do these bank robberies. So ultimately, we started trial in May of 2006. Before we picked the jury, Vanessa's sitting at the counsel table with me across from me. My attorney's between us and her attorney's on the end. And I already had wrote a note to her. I'm not going to say what the note says, but before we picked the jury, after she read the note, she passed it back to my attorney, and I ate the note, and she stood up in court. And this is the most gangster shit that I've ever been involved with anybody, man or woman. She stood up in the courtroom and told the judge, Your Honor, I did these bank robberies by myself. I lied and said that he was involved with it because I didn't want him out here by himself cheating on me. And I lied, and they immediately took me out of the courtroom, said I was influencing her to do this, and put me in a bullpen. I was in the bullpen an hour and a half. Don't know what's going on in court. The police come and get me, bring me back in the courtroom. She's gone. Her attorney's gone. It's just me and my attorney. What's up, Mr. Richard Woodrow? Love you, man. I haven't talked to you for over a year now. I tapped in when I first came home, and we stayed in contact, but I haven't talked to you. I got my files. You sent me my files. Best attorney in Washington State, Richard Woodrow. Hands down, best attorney. So when I walk into this courtroom, Vanessa's gone. My attorney taps me on my leg, and he smiles at me. He said, You're going home. I looked at him, and I'm like, what? He said, Vanessa just pled to every charge. I think it was 9 or 10 charges, and she got a 13-year sentence in Washington State. Who do you know that would stand up in court and try to get you off of a case like that? No co-defendants of mine ever did that. So for me to sit up here and say Vanessa Molina told on me, I can't say that. She made a mistake. She implicated me. Maybe I might have drove her to one of these bank robberies, but she cleaned this shit up in the end. The next day, she went and got sentenced, and they gave her 13 years. Now they send me back to the county jail. I don't know how, but they ended up charging me with witness tampering. Someone said that they see me pass the note. The bailiff said they see me pass the note to her. They see me chew it up. They charged me with witness tampering. So 4 months later, I go to trial by myself. I go to trial. I know they don't have no evidence whatsoever except her statement when she first got arrested that implicated me on one of the bank robberies. And the district attorney, David Bruno, he wanted me bad. He wanted me super bad. He was in the newspapers talking hella shit, putting frivolous shit on me, charging me with all kind of shit that had nothing to do with this case. He wanted me to go to prison for the rest of my life in Washington State. His wish didn't come true. In Washington State, they got something called a grid. And the grid is if you got 9 or more felonies in any state, they can ultimately give you a life sentence. It's called being off the grid. I already had at this time 16 felonies. But what I didn't know was that your felonies wash out after 5 years. And I haven't had new charges in California at this time for 4 years and 8 months. I had parole violations and I was wanted in California, but my crime was in 1999, March of 99, and that was selling a pound of crystal to an undercover cop. And so my time, my grid was washed out, and I didn't know the laws down there. So ultimately, I go to trial, and I get a mistrial. They bring Vanessa back from the prison to testify on me, and she ultimately takes the stand and takes the fifth. So I get a mistrial. This DA wasn't having that. He wanted to try me again. My attorney talked to him. They negotiated something. They dropped the 4 bank robberies on me, right? But because that I had these felonies off the grid that I didn't know washed out, any felony I was convicted of, they could give me a life sentence out there. Vanessa already had 13 years. So I go to my second trial. Vanessa don't show up. She don't have to because the bank robberies are dismissed. They're charging me with 16 counts of identity theft, transportation of cocaine and methamphetamines across state line, 2 state lines, Oregon and Washington, witness tampering, and what else? Oh, theft in the first degree, because we use IDs and got all new furniture on credit at this furniture store, and they came to testify. So ultimately, I got convicted of identity theft. They didn't charge me with the cocaine sales at this time. But when I went to prison, Pierce County picked up and they took me back to court, and they couldn't really get me on it because when they raided my house, they took all the drugs and money, and I could prove some of the money at the house. So they ultimately dismissed the drug charge in Pierce County. But I still got, so they banged me. What happened was they convicted me of 6 felonies. Before, when I was going to sentencing, I started going to the law library and looking at the law, and I found, my attorney didn't find it. I found that all my felonies washed out because it's been 5 years. So when I went to sentencing and the news cameras and everything was in sentencing, my attorney came in and I told him, I said, man, I haven't had a felony in over 5 years. And he looked at me. He said, what? He said, oh, no, they can't give you nothing but 4 years, 8 months. Then he looked at the chart. I was on the grid. I was grid 2. That was a low felony count. So when we went for sentencing, the judge, my attorney brought it up. Look, Mr. Jefferson, his felonies washed out. He's a 2 on his grid. And the DA said, I knew that. He said, however, because of Mr. Jefferson's conduct with witness tampering, we're going to ask for an exceptional sentence. And they could do this in Washington if they think you, if you think you can't be rehabilitated, they give you an exceptional sentence. So ultimately, they can only give me 4 years, 8 months. The judge, Palme, she was an older lady, and she looked at me and she said, Mr. Jefferson, your attorney's right, but so is the district attorney, Mr. Bruno. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sentence you to the 4 years, 8 months, but I'm going to add on 8 years, 6 months. That's 15 years in 4 months they gave me in Washington. This is 2006. No, this is 2007. I get sentenced on Valentine's Day, 2007 to 15 years, 4 months. When I get sentenced, they send me to their little reception center, and I meet this Aryan family cat, Linderman, Garrett Linderman. He was a legal beagle. He was a jailhouse attorney. He said, bro, I seen you on the news. I seen you in the newspapers. Let me see your paperwork. So I slid in my paperwork, and I swear to you, I get there early 2007, maybe March or April 2007 to the reception center. We're going to the law library together, and it's snowing out there. So we're going to the law library. He filed something called a PRP, personal restraint petition. They ultimately send me to, what was the name of that prison? It was a medium security prison. How could I not remember this damn prison? Ultimately, I go to this medium security prison, and I hit someone in the face with a lock, and they send me to Walla Walla. I was only there for a month. They send me to Walla Walla, and when I get to Walla Walla, they got 4-man cells, and most cells have 3 people in them. And I get to Walla Walla, and I'm in prison from April of 2007, and he while I'm in Walla Walla, he goes to another prison, but he has my paperwork. He files his PRP, and they ultimately give me appeal attorney. I'm only in prison out there for 9 months. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 8 months I'm in prison down there, and I get a summons to go back to Thurston County to be resentenced. They send me back December 22nd, 2007 to get resentenced. December 23rd, they take me in front of the same Judge Pompey. She tells me, Mr. Jefferson, I made a mistake. I can't give you nothing but 3 years and 2 months. And I'm ordering that the part DOC, they call it DOC in Washington, immediate releases you. It releases you immediately. It was a shock. It's December 23rd when she says that. On December 24th, DOC takes me back to Walla Walla, and I got my paper saying that I've done my time because I already got over a year in the county jail, 8 months at this in prison, and you do half time up there. So when I get to Walla Walla, I'm in R&R. I'm thinking I'm getting out right now. This is Christmas Eve. I'm showing these COs in R&R. It says immediate release. Process me out. They don't. They take me back to my cell. I'm showing my two cellies the paperwork. One was a GD, Black Rob, and the other cat was a Mexican Crip from Tacoma. So we're in the cell, and I'm showing this. He's like, man, this says immediate. So I'm shaking the bars. There's bars on wall to wall. I'm shaking the wall, the bars, calling the COs, and this is Christmas Eve. So when he sees this paper, R&R didn't give a fuck. When he sees this paper, he says, you're right. So he talks to a sergeant on Christmas Eve, 2007. I get released. No clothes. I had a fucking wife beater on. They gave me a jacket that they charged me $36 for. And they take me to a fucking bus station. Nobody knows I didn't even know I was getting out. Christmas Eve, 2007. I got, they give you a check for whatever money's on your books. And then they give you a handful of quarters. They give you like $5 in quarters and a check. All I got is my prison ID. I have nothing. I go to the phone booth, put in these quarters, and I call my mom. She wires me $2,500. I called D-Bear up. He couldn't come get me. He was at work. So I call the cat out, call up a cat that I met in Thurston County Jail. He ultimately picks me up. So that's my story, my short story. My book is coming out in a month and a half. It's being edited. The book covers are being made right now. The whole ordeal is in my book. It's called The Man Behind the Woman. Check it out. I'll have 2 chapters. I have the prologue and 2 chapters up here. I got a female coming on here going to read my book for me. And ultimately, if you want to buy it, it's $21.99. The Man Behind the Woman. It's 481 pages long. It's not a little book. And it's I just put everything in a nutshell right now for you. So I'll be talking to you tomorrow. I got a very special guest coming in tomorrow. He's trying to make an hour's time for me tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. I'm not going to say his name. He's a special guest. You might want to check this out. He's a celebrity, and he got a long history. That's all I'm going to say right now. I'm not going to say who he is. He don't want me to say his name. I'm not going to post his picture until tomorrow before we do this interview. But he's a celebrity. And Vanessa, a ride or die. Sorry, I'm going to answer some of these comments now. Look forward to the book. Oh, yeah, going to purchase that shit for sure. Let me see. What is this? I need me one of them. Vanessa, a ride or die. Let me see what this is. I got all these comments. Do you know a nigga from Garden's name? D Blue. So if you're talking about Big Blue, yeah, that's my partner. D Blue, you talking about D Blue, the guy, he's no longer with us. Yeah, I know of D Blue. I mean, you thought with your home C-Tone and your homegirl Insane. You was in YA with Lewis. That's Little C-Tone. And the homegirl Insane, you was in there with Deborah. That's Little Insane. That's not Big Insane. That's the homegirl and that's the homie. Sour Diesel. Oh no, that's from Ricky. Dirk McGirt. Up the street from Washington, we ain't that far behind. What up? Hey, Al Carroll, you still on here? What part of Tacoma you from, homie? You from Hilltop? Thump. Tap in, new channel, salutes. Yes, bro. I want to know what part of Tacoma you from, Al Carroll. Because if you're from Hilltop, I need you to tap in on my email, man. I gotta holler at someone from Tacoma right now. I lost my contact from someone from Hilltop, and I'm trying to get a hold of this guy, California, up the street from Washington. You are name, Deep Blue, Sour Diesel. So yeah, Sour Diesel. She's out now. Vanessa's out now, and she's doing good. We talk occasionally, not too much, but she is out. She don't live far from me. She's living the working class life now. She works and stuff. She's never been back to jail since. We talk we don't talk all the time, but I talk to her once in a while. I talk to her at least 2 or 3 times a year. to just tap in and make sure she's doing okay. But yeah, she is a rock. What's up with it, fellas? Inside. Blue Nutty. Inside. Inside. What's inside? Are you talking about Hilltop, bro? Go back, live in I can't go back to live in Washington, bro. And I didn't say this about this, but after I got out of California prison in 2018, they released me in 2018. I still had 8 months community custody in Washington, right? Well, they ultimately let me out of California in 2018 with a warrant in Washington. And a year and a half later, I got pulled over in Sacramento, and Washington came and got me and sent me back to Washington and made me do 8 months, not in Washington on community custody. They put me on parole in California for 8 months, California parole for 8 months after I was already out of here now. And they banned me from Washington. They said I could never have a residence there. So I can't go back to Washington. Up high. So that answers your question. Everybody on here is saying SIBO. Not everybody, but there's a lot of comments SIBO. As you know, I did a video already. Me and my bro, we produced SIBO from 1992, 1993, all the way up until I think 2000. I no longer have contact with SIBO no more. I purchased that shit for sure. You know, Mexicans from North Sac. Yeah, I know a lot of Mexicans from North Sac. Daniel, who you talking about? A lot. I know a lot. I know the Butrons. I know the Jimenezes. I know Chunky. I know Ralph Lujan. I know a lot. Northgate, Gardenland. Who you talking about? Arden area. I don't know what Mexicans you're talking about. You got to tell me, ask specifically who you're talking about. But I know a lot of them out there. Older people, though. Older cats, my age. Nate Dogg 916. Yeah, I know Nate Dogg. I know Nate Dogg 916 channel. Up high. The Heights, Mexicans in the Heights. Yeah, I know Diablo. My cousin Flox and Bad Boy. Bad Boy's from Franklin, though. But Flox, rest in peace, Flox. He was from the Heights. Who else do I know from the Heights? The Butrons is from the Heights. But I know a lot of brothers from the Heights. A lot of brothers from Del Paso Heights. You said Mexicans. Would you ever? Everyone wants to know about SIBO. I'm not doing a video about SIBO unless he wants to do an interview with me. I'm not going to get on here and slander nobody or talk about no one like that. You knew Flox? That's my second cousin. Yeah, that was crazy how they got Flox in that downtown, that nightclub. That was crazy as fuck. And a girl did that. I know her. It was over her old man. It was a fight, and her old man got killed, and then she killed Flox. Del Paso Heights. Rest in peace, Flox. Oh, okay, I thought he was the celebrity you were talking about. Nah, Sour Diesel. You guys are gonna be surprised on the cat that's gonna come on here, man. He's the homie. He's in Vegas right now, and you ever came to Los? Yeah, I frequent Los Angeles all the time. Who was that up high? I'm tapped in with the Harlems, the 60s, Venice Showline. I'm tapped in with a lot of cats out there. I was in LA. Damn, it's been. I was in LA in 2021. The last time I went to LA. What's up, Jose? Tap in, man. I'm gonna put my email down here, bro. Thump, big thump Hey, I'm gonna put my email down here. Tap in, bro. I want to holler at you. I'm gonna give you this email. I ain't gonna give you the other one. This one's my personal email. I didn't even know you was out, bro. Haven't seen you or heard your name in a long time, I don't spell my name like that though. Get it right. It's Y. Thump, can you see my email? Tap in, bro. I want to holler at you. Are you in Sac still? Man, you know what? Yeah, I got some questions for you. Nothing bad. I just got some questions for you, man. Tap in. Like right now. This video is already 56 minutes. I was trying to keep it under an hour. So if you guys haven't supported my channel already, I want to let you know that I just filed for monetization. So I will be monetized any day now. If you want to support this channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, hit that like button. All the information is going across the screen. You have relations with any of the stars or gas gutter, you haven't brought them up in any of your videos yet. Actually, my nephew is from Gutter Gas. He's locked up right now. I'm not really going to talk about Zilla and stars on my channel. That's a touchy situation for me. I'm gonna leave it at that. They're the new generation in Sacramento, and they're kicking up all the dust. We're old school. We don't. I mean, I associate with on both sides. I know people from both sides. Actually, I'm not gonna say their names. They know who they are. But yeah, I'm tapped in with not Lab, but I'm tapped in with a couple star dudes, a few star dudes, and I'm really tapped in with some Zilla cats too right now. My son, my oldest son, he's from Zilla. We'll just leave it at that. Not gonna say his name. He's from Zilla. My son and my nephew is from Gutter Gas. So it's complicated for me to even talk about them kind of subjects. I don't get into street politics no more, man. I'm not into all that. I'm trying to save these kids from doing what I did. Gas gutter, you haven't brought them up. Okay. Damn, a lot of people want to know about this new gangbang shit in Sacramento. And it is, it's you know, a lot of people are dropping behind them cats, man, and it's ugly out here in Sacramento. Let me see here. All right, y'all, stay blessed. Tell the people you love that you love them. You don't know if tomorrow is promised to us. We might be leaving here soon. I believe God is coming soon, y'all, like real soon. I believe he's coming. It's in the Bible, Revelations, all the signs are already there. So tell the people you love them to stay blessed out there and stay safe. I'll see y'all tomorrow.